The sun hung low, casting soft rays through the ancient Bodhi tree under which the Buddha often taught his disciples. I approached with hesitation, a scroll-like device in my hands glowing with the allure of modern wonders and distractions. Ananda approached, bowing deeply, his voice trembling with unease. "Master," Ananda began, his tone heavy with distress. "Life feels overwhelming, like an endless tide of waves crashing against my mind. We are drowning within it." The Buddha gestured to the ground beside him, a silent invitation, as his eyes seemed to study the device. "This scroll," he said gently, "carries neither salvation nor suffering. Like a vessel, it contains only what you pour inside." The disciples murmured softly among themselves. As the Buddha continued, his voice calm like rippling water. "Imagine," he said, "a traveler standing before a rushing river, eager to cross to the unseen lands beyond." Buddha nodded, pouring the sand into Ananda's palms. "Now, imagine this handful as a single moment or thought. Your scroll is like the river," he added, holding my device as though weighing its significance within the world. "It flows endlessly with distractions. Yet it holds the potential to connect, to inform, and to liberate." The disciples sat in silence, their devices resting beside them, as if suddenly heavy under the Buddha's gentle words. "To cross the river," he said, "you must build your raft from mindfulness, not attachment or impulse. Mindfulness begins with a simple question: am I present in this moment? Or has the current swept me away?" "Presence," he continued, "is like the root of a tree, grounding you even amidst the strongest winds. Without presence, your device becomes not a tool, but a master," he said, returning the scroll-like device to me. "Master," I asked, "how can we distinguish between mindful use and the illusion of control in this modern world?" He smiled, the light of understanding flickering in his eyes like the play of sunlight on a forest floor. "Intention," he said simply. "What you seek when you use this tool reveals whether it serves wisdom or fosters craving. If your actions arise from curiosity and compassion, the river's flow will carry knowledge, not chaos, to your shore. But," he continued, "when driven by fear, comparison, or endless desire, the current deepens into a whirlpool of suffering." The disciples exchanged glances, some nodding as realization dawned, while others seemed to wrestle with their thoughts. "You must ask yourselves this," he said, looking to each of us. "Is this moment serving you? Or are you its servant?" "Disciples," he said, spreading his hands wide, "awareness transforms the mindless scroll into mindful engagement. The tool's nature does not change," he explained, "but your relationship with it becomes enlightened, like a lotus above muddy waters." I bowed my head, my doubts softened by the clarity his words brought. Yet questions still swirled like restless winds. "Master," another disciple spoke, "does this mean we must renounce such tools to walk the path of the Dharma?" "No," the Buddha replied, his voice firm yet kind. "Renunciation is not the absence of use, but the absence of attachment. A wise being walks among rivers without fear, for they neither cling to the water nor despise its necessity." The disciple nodded, though uncertainty lingered on their face, as the Buddha's teaching settled gently like dew on leaves. "Consider the heron," the Buddha said, pointing to the bird standing gracefully by a stream, patient and deliberate in its movements. The heron uses the stream not recklessly, but with focus and harmony, finding sustenance without being swept away. "As should you," he concluded, his words washing over us like a cool breeze on a sweltering summer day. I felt the weight of my device lessen, not in its physical form but in the grip it held upon my mind. "Master," I said, my voice steadier now, "how do we guide others lost in the currents of distraction and attachment?" "By living as an example," he said. "Your peace will shine brighter than any words you might offer." "Master, How do we resist the urge to carry more than one grain? Buddha gestured to the tree's roots, weaving deeply into the earth. Remain grounded. Ananda. My heart swelled with gratitude as the teachings of mindfulness resonated like ripples on a still pond. The Buddha rose slowly, his hands resting together as if in silent prayer. And we, his disciples, bowed in unison. The moment felt eternal, as though his words had paused time itself, anchoring us amidst life's relentless tide. As we dispersed, the stream of modernity seemed less daunting, not because it had changed, but because we had. Each step away from the Bodhi tree carried not the noise of distraction, but the quiet power of purpose and mindfulness. The river flowed on, unceasing, but no longer did its currents control us, for we had built our rafts. Another day, as sunlight danced on dewdrops, the disciples gathered around the Buddha, their faces shadowed with thoughts of comparison. I sat beside them, clutching a polished device reflecting endless images and words, its surface both mesmerizing and unsettling. Release resistance, Sujata. Let each grain fall. The disciples pondered, their minds gradually lightening as Buddha's teachings sank deeper into their understanding of life and its burdens. Buddha lifted his hand toward the sky, his fingers tracing a crescent-like arc toward the horizon. Imagine, he said, filling this bowl with water from a murky pond. The water distorts the reflection of the sky. You gaze into the bowl, but what you see is not the sky. It is the illusion shaped by the pond. In the same way, this device reflects not the truth, but the stories your mind clings to and creates. A disciple spoke, his voice trembling. Master, when we see others through this device, why do we feel unworthy and incomplete? The Buddha placed the bowl down gently, as though even its imperfection deserved reverence and care. When the mind attaches to comparison, it feeds the illusion of separation between yourself and others, he said compassionately. Imagine seeing one star and wishing to outshine it, forgetting you are part of the same boundless sky. The disciples sat silently, the device's glow now paling beside the truth of the Buddha's words. The illusion of separation, he continued, binds you to suffering, as if each reflection defined your worth and being. Master, I asked, my voice breaking, how do we free ourselves from these chains of comparison and constant seeking? The Buddha gestured toward the forest, where trees stood tall and straight, each unique yet harmoniously intertwined. Observe the trees, he said. They do not compare their branches to others. They simply grow toward the light. You too must find the light within and nurture it, instead of looking outward for what you already possess. A disciple, clutching their device tightly, asked, should we abandon this mirror altogether? Master, if it brings so much suffering? The Buddha smiled, his expression both serene and knowing, as though he welcomed such honest doubt and inquiry. This mirror need not be discarded, he explained. Its nature is neither virtuous nor harmful. It is how you wield it. A blacksmith's tools can forge both chains and keys. It is the mind's intention that shapes their purpose and use. He picked up the device resting near him, holding it as if it too deserved his compassion and wisdom. When you look into this mirror, he said, ask yourself, what do I seek? And why does it matter to me? The answers, he continued, will reveal whether you are nourishing wisdom or indulging the craving of the ego. Another disciple hesitated before speaking. Master, the images we see here often make us feel isolated, even when they appear joyful. The Buddha nodded, his understanding radiating like the soft glow of twilight upon the earth and sky. These images, he said, are fragments of the whole, shaped by the intentions of those who share them. Joy shared to inspire brings connection, but joy shared to elevate oneself deepens the illusion of separation. Recognize that what you see is incomplete, and find compassion for both the sharer and yourself within this knowledge. He turned to me, his voice soft yet unwavering. What burden do you carry when you gaze into this mirror? My disciple? I hesitated, overwhelmed by the clarity of his question. Then confessed, I carry the weight of being less than enough. The Buddha placed his hand lightly on my shoulder, a gesture as grounding as the earth beneath our feet. The weight you feel, he said, does not come from this mirror, but from the stories you tell yourself. Release these stories, he continued, and you will find that the mirror holds no power to harm or diminish you. Master, a younger disciple asked, if we are to release these stories, what truth should we hold in their place? He looked upward to the sky, where clouds drifted and dissolved, ephemeral yet part of something eternal. The truth, he said, is that you are neither the reflection nor the stories, but the boundless awareness behind them. Just as clouds do not change the nature of the sky, these illusions cannot change the essence of who you are. The disciples' faces softened, their devices now appearing as simple tools rather than enigmatic burdens or sources of pain. To use this tool wisely, the Buddha said, let it remind you of your interconnectedness, not your separateness. Do not seek validation from it, he cautioned, but instead let it be a means to share kindness and understanding. And when it no longer serves those purposes, he concluded, lay it down and return to the peace within you. The air grew still, as though the universe itself paused to absorb the depth of his teaching and presence. The disciples sat in silent reflection, their breaths aligning as they absorbed the freedom his words offered to their hearts. The Buddha rose, placing the device back in my hands, its weight feeling lighter, not from substance but from insight. Go now, he said, his voice like a gentle stream, and let your actions teach others what your words cannot. We bowed deeply as he stepped away, his form merging with the tranquil beauty of the surrounding forest in that moment. I understood that the mirror need not hold my gaze forever. My truth lay beyond its surface. As we left the Bodhi tree, the reflections we carried felt clearer, illuminated by compassion, purpose, and the Buddha's boundless wisdom. Another day, as twilight painted the horizon, the disciples gathered beneath the Bodhi tree, their faces seeking solace and guidance. I sat with them, cradling a flickering candle in my hands, its fragile light casting shadows that danced upon the earth. Master, I began, my voice heavy with weariness. Our days are filled with endless calls, demands, and ceaseless distractions. The Buddha gazed at the candle, its flame swaying delicately, then met my eyes with a compassion that seemed eternal. This flame, he said, his voice soft yet steady, is like your awareness, ever present but easily swayed by the wind. He placed a hand on the ground, drawing the attention of all gathered, as if anchoring the moment in stillness. The winds of life are unceasing, he continued, yet the strength of this flame lies in the shelter you provided. Master, a disciple asked, their voice trembling, how do we protect this flame when the winds grow strong and relentless? The Buddha's eyes softened, his expression both calm and resolute, as though he held the weight of countless truths. You must create a shelter of focus, he said. Attend only to what nourishes this light, and let go of excess. Consider the potter shaping clay, he continued. It flows without resistance, carrying itself naturally toward its destination. Ananda spoke first, his tone filled with curiosity. The disciples nodded, their gazes fixed upon the candle, its flame unwavering beneath the Buddha's gentle breath of wisdom. Master, another disciple spoke. How do we know when to let go of the winds that call for our attention? The Buddha reached for a fallen leaf, its edges curled, its texture delicate, and held it between his fingers. Not every wind must be met, he said. Some carry whispers of wisdom, while others scatter seeds of chaos and noise. By observing the wind's nature, he continued, You learn which calls to answer and which to release into the vastness. A disciple leaned forward, their eyes wide with longing, and asked, "But Master, what if we are drawn to every call?" The Buddha smiled, the kind of smile that reflected both understanding and the gentle light of timeless compassion. "Then you must return to the flame," he said, "again and again, until its light is brighter than the winds." The act of returning, he explained, is not a failure but the practice that strengthens the shelter of your awareness. The disciples fell into quiet contemplation, their breaths aligning with the rhythm of the flame. Steady and calm, I watched the candle, its light steady yet alive, and felt the truth of his words echoing within my heart. "Master," I ventured, "how do we cultivate this act of returning when distractions seem infinite and our will seems frail?" The Buddha's gaze swept across the group, his presence grounding as though the earth itself held us in stillness. "Each time you return," he said, "you build a path that grows clearer, like a trail deepened by the steps of travelers. This path is your practice," he continued, "and each step strengthens your connection to the present moment, where the flame resides." A young disciple spoke hesitantly. "Master, sometimes the flame feels weak, and we fear it will be extinguished entirely." The Buddha nodded, his understanding palpable, as though he too had once known the fragility of light amidst the storm. "The flame is never truly extinguished," he said. "Even when hidden, its essence remains, waiting for the breath of awareness. The fear you feel," he added, "is the mind's shadow, not the reality of the flame's eternal potential." He cupped his hands around the candle, shielding it momentarily, demonstrating the care required to nurture such fragile light. "Treat your awareness as you would this flame," he said. "Protect it, not with force, but with gentle and unwavering intention." The disciples bowed their heads, their devices and distractions momentarily forgotten as the truth of his words settled within them. The Buddha stood, the motion as deliberate as the ripple of water in a still pond, and gestured toward the candle. "Let this light guide you," he said, "not as a destination but as a reminder of your presence and potential." The air seemed to hold his words, as though even the wind paused to listen and carry his teaching across the world. As we sat in silence, the candle burned steadily, its flame a symbol not of perfection but of persistence amidst impermanence. The Buddha stepped away, his figure fading into the embrace of the trees. Yet his teachings remained, like embers in our hearts. The disciples departed slowly, each carrying the light of the flame within them, a quiet resolve to guard it well. I lingered, watching the candle flicker against the growing night, and felt a peace that echoed the Buddha's timeless wisdom. The world outside hummed with its ceaseless distractions, but within, the flame of presence burned strong, unyielding to the winds. "Your ocean is clarity, infinite wisdom, and calm," Buddha continued, "but overwhelm keeps you away from realizing its infinite depth." Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.